It was New Year's Day, 2014, in Columbus, Georgia. A house party was alive with music, laughter, and the rhythmic energy of a rap battle. The air was excited as guests gathered to watch a friendly lyrical showdown. Among them was Angela Morris, a 36-year-old woman with a sharp wit and a natural gift for turning words into weapons. She was no stranger to challenges, and when her name was called to face off against three men, Robert Carl Johnson, Ketery Tristan Glover, and Joey Bertrail Guerin, she stepped forward without hesitation. The battle began, and Angela's presence was electric. Her lines hit hard, each sharper and more clever than the last. The crowd erupted with every punchline, their cheers echoing through the room. On the other side, the men, confident at first, started to falter. Their rhymes lacked the punch of Angela's, and as the battle wore on, it became clear who the winner was. Angela's final verse sealed her victory, leaving the crowd roaring in approval. It was a moment of triumph, the kind of moment that should have been celebrated. But in the corner of the room, the three men stood silent. Their faces were tight, their pride wounded. What had started as a playful competition now carried an undertone of tension that was impossible to ignore. Angela had humiliated them, not with violence, but with words. And for reasons that still defy understanding, they couldn't let it go. The party carried on, the crowd still buzzing about Angela's performance. But those three men didn't join in the celebration. They were watching her, their expressions unreadable but undeniably dark. What could have ended as a light-hearted story of friendly competition was about to take a turn no one could have predicted. For Angela, the night wasn't over, it was only the beginning, and the horror awaiting her was unimaginable. In 2014, Angela Morris had no idea that what started as a fun and exciting New Year's Day party would soon become the nightmare that would define her life. At 36, Angela was confident and unafraid to stand her ground, especially in something as natural as a rap battle. The house party she attended in Columbus, Georgia, was full of energy and laughter as people gathered to celebrate the new year. But what should have been a light-hearted competition quickly escalated into something far more horrific. With her sharp words and quick wit, Angela faced off against three men, Robert Carl Johnson, Ketery Tristan Glover, and Joey Bertrail Guerin, who were used to being in control. The battle was fierce, filled with back-and-forth rhymes that had the crowd cheering. But as the minutes ticked by, it became clear that Angela dominated. Her lyrics were clever, her delivery flawless, and the crowd responded with overwhelming support. The three men were humiliated, their pride wounded in a way that cut far more profound than a simple loss in a rap contest. But they failed to understand that Angela had outperformed them. Not to tear them down, but to showcase her talent. However, their defeat was not something they could accept. Their anger, already bubbling beneath the surface, would soon become much darker. In a shocking twist, what started as a rap battle turned into a desperate, vengeful plot. The three men, unable to handle the sting of embarrassment, resorted to violence, kidnapping Angela and driving her to a remote location where they would subject her to unimaginable cruelty. What followed that night was something no one could have anticipated, a series of brutal attacks that would leave Angela clinging to life, fighting against both her attackers and the odds stacked against her. Columbus, Georgia, a city that had seen its share of crime, had never seen anything like this. While it was no stranger to violence, this crime stood out. What could drive these men to such an extreme reaction over a simple loss in a rap battle? How could humiliation lead to an act of such unimaginable brutality? As the case details would soon emerge, the world would be stunned by the depths of anger and hatred these men harbored. But through it all, Angela's will to survive shone brighter than anything the men could inflict on her. Her story would become a testament to strength, resilience, and determination to fight back, regardless of the odds. Stay with us as we explore the disturbing details of that fateful day and try to understand the psychological motivations behind this unimaginable act of violence. What truly happened to Angela Morris that day, and what led these men down a path so far removed from reason? Angela Morris had known struggle her entire life, but nothing could have prepared her for the nightmare that awaited her on New Year's Day, 2014. Raised in Columbus, Georgia, Angela's childhood was anything but easy. It was a story of adversity, where every challenge seemed stacked higher than the last. But through it all, Angela learned to hold her head high, using her love for music and poetry as her escape. Her words became her armor, a way to express the pain, the heartache, and the determination she carried within. Music wasn't just a hobby, it was a lifeline. And it was through her passion for it that Angela found her strength, not just to survive, but to thrive. Angela wasn't just a survivor, she was a fighter. She was a mother, a sister, a daughter, someone who would never back down, no matter the odds. She had an unbreakable spirit, a determination that had carried her through some of life's most challenging moments. But Angela's strength would be tested like never before on New Year's Day. No one could have predicted that a simple, light-hearted rap battle at a house party would lead to a tragedy so horrific that it would forever change her life. The three men responsible for what happened next had their dark histories. Robert Carl Johnson, known for his short temper, had a reputation for wanting to control those around him. His life of petty crime was quickly escalating, and he sought out people who shared his violent tendencies. Ketery Tristan Glover, a man who could charm his way into any situation, was no stranger to manipulation. He thrived on power, and when things didn't go his way, he was quick to resort to violence. And then there was Joey Bertrail Guerin, the quiet one, the follower. On the surface, Joey seemed harmless, going along with whatever Robert and Ketery decided. But deep inside, Joey harbored a darker side that would eventually come to light in the most horrifying ways. That day, Angela had no idea what she was walking into. The party was lively, with music playing and friends gathered to celebrate the new year. When the rap battle began, Angela stepped up with confidence. She knew this wasn't just about winning, it was about proving herself. She was used to being underestimated, but this time, she was ready to show the world, and the three men she would face, that she was more than capable. Her rhymes flowed effortlessly, each line more cutting than the last. The crowd around her roared with approval, sensing that Angela wasn't just participating in the battle but owning it. The men, at first confident in their abilities, quickly realized they were outmatched. One line after another, Angela humiliated them, leaving them floundering for a response. The crowd's cheers were deafening, but the humiliation cut deep for Robert, Ketery, and Joey. What had started as a playful competition quickly turned into something far more dangerous. As the battle ended, the mood in the room shifted. Angela had won, but the three men were angry in an almost irrational way. Their pride had been wounded, their egos shattered by a woman they couldn't control. They weren't about to accept defeat. It wasn't just about a rap battle anymore. In their minds, this was a matter of dominance. It was a matter of showing Angela who was in charge. And so, what started as a simple challenge would quickly descend into a nightmare. Without warning, the men turned violent. They grabbed Angela, forcing her into her car at gunpoint. There was no time to think, no chance to fight back. Angela was dragged from the scene, terrified but trying to hold on to the one thing she knew, her survival instinct. The men drove her to a desolate area on Far Road, a place far from the eyes of the world. It was there, in that empty, lonely stretch of land, where they would carry out their brutal plan. The hours that followed were nothing short of hell. Angela was tortured, raped, burned, and left for dead. The men doused her body in gasoline, a cruel and final act meant to end her life. But Angela, despite the unimaginable pain and terror she was enduring, didn't give up. Her body may have been broken, but her will to survive was more potent than anything they could do to her. With incredible strength, Angela fought back. She managed to crawl her way to safety, to a place where her cries for help could be heard. Her voice, weak but persistent, was the last thread holding her to life. By the time the police arrived, Angela was barely alive, her body a testament to the brutality she had endured. But it was also a testament to her unyielding spirit. Her survival was nothing short of miraculous. The officers who found her described the scene as one they would never forget. One officer said, "It was shocking, something you never expect to find in a case like this." Another commented on Angela's strength, calling her survival nothing short of heroic. The police quickly pieced together the events of that night. Witnesses had seen the men with Angela before she was taken, and the forensic evidence confirmed the horror that had occurred. Bullet residue on her clothes, gasoline stains, and signs of sexual assault, these were the clues that pointed directly to Robert, Ketery, and Joey. But there was still one question: why? Why had these men become violent over something as trivial as a rap battle? As investigators dug more deeply, the psychological motives behind the attack began to emerge. Experts pointed to the fragile egos of the men, suggesting that losing a rap battle, a harmless, fun competition, had triggered a violent rage that they could not control. But there was more to it than that. The men's backgrounds, shaped by a history of violence and instability, had turned them into people who saw aggression as the only way to assert control. It wasn't just about losing a battle but about reclaiming power. They had seen Angela as an obstacle to their authority, and in their twisted minds, the only way to maintain that control was through force. In the weeks that followed, Angela's story became national news. Her bravery, strength, and survival ability captured the world's attention. And as Robert, Ketery, and Joey were arrested and brought to trial, their motives were exposed for the world to see. Their conviction would bring some measure of justice, but it couldn't erase the horror they had caused. Robert Carl Johnson and Ketery Glover were each sentenced to 6 life sentences plus 95 years. Joey Guerin, the quiet follower, was sentenced to 5 life sentences and 70 years. They would spend the rest of their lives in prison, their names forever tied to the crime they committed. But Angela's story was not one of defeat. It was one of resilience, of surviving against all odds, of refusing to let the darkness others tried to impose on her define her. She fought to survive, and in doing so, she showed the world the incredible strength of the human spirit. This case would forever serve as a reminder of how fragile human emotions can be and how a moment of humiliation can spiral into something unspeakable. But Angela Morris, despite everything, emerged from it more potent than anyone could have imagined. Her story is not just about survival. It's about the unbreakable will to rise, no matter the cost. As we proceed with Angela's story, I want to hear what you think triggered these men's shocking actions. We know they lost a rap battle, something that should have been lighthearted, just a friendly competition. But is that truly what set them off? Was it just the sting of defeat, or did something more profound lie beneath the surface? Could something more to their hatred have made their reaction far more extreme than anyone could have predicted? Would they have reacted differently if Angela hadn't won, or would this always happen? Share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think the loss of a rap battle could have triggered such violent behavior, or were there other factors at play here that we may not fully understand? Now, let's talk about Angela. What makes her survival so incredible is not just the horrific ordeal she endured but the strength she showed when it seemed like all hope was lost. She was burned, tortured, and left for dead. Yet, despite everything, she found the strength to crawl, to scream for help, to fight for her life. So, what do you think it was that kept her going? Was it her will to survive, a fierce determination to see another day, no matter what? Or is there something more, something deeper at play, that kept her alive when most would have given up? Could the bond she shared with her family or a fierce love for her children push her to hang on when everything told her to let go? I want to know what you think. What drove Angela to fight back so fiercely against the odds stacked against her? Finally, let's talk about the justice that was served. Robert, Ketery, and Joey are now behind bars, where they'll remain for the rest of their lives. Each man received a life sentence in prison, but was that enough? Is it possible that a life sentence could ever make up for the horror they put Angela through? Or do you think the punishments were too lenient, considering the brutal violence they inflicted on an innocent woman? On the other hand, some might argue that no sentence, no matter how harsh, could ever indeed account for the damage they caused. What's your take on this? Were the sentences fair, or did you feel there should have been a different outcome for these men? Your voice matters, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you agree with the punishment, or do you think something else should have been done? Angela Morris's story transcended the tragic events that unfolded on New Year's Day 2014. What she went through was nothing short of a nightmare, a horrific chain of violence that could break the strongest of spirits. But through it all, Angela displayed an unyielding strength that left everyone in awe. Her journey through the courtroom, through the endless questioning and recounting of the brutal ordeal, was a testament to her resilience. When Angela took the stand, her calmness in the face of such extreme trauma was nothing less than remarkable. Her testimony's words were measured, deliberate, and decisive. She wasn't just telling a story, she was showing the world that despite the cruelty she had endured, she would not be broken. Her composure was more than just a defense mechanism, it was an act of defiance against the men who thought they could take her life away. While many victims of such horrific crimes might have been consumed by grief, fear, or rage, Angela's calm demeanor was a quiet form of rebellion. It was as if she had already claimed her victory, not in the courtroom, but in her own heart. Her silence, the calm in her voice, spoke volumes to those who listened, and it became clear that this woman, despite the scars both seen and unseen, was a survivor in every sense of the word. She became a symbol of strength for anyone who had ever faced the unimaginable and came out the other side. In contrast to Angela's bravery, the investigation and trial were full of heart-stopping twists that kept everyone on edge. As the case progressed, shocking new details about the three men emerged, each revelation more disturbing than the last. What started as a petty rap battle, a seemingly harmless contest, slowly morphed into something far darker and more calculated. The more investigators uncovered, the more questions arose. Why did these men commit such an unforgivable act in their moment of embarrassment? The seemingly trivial rap battle catalyzed a series of events that led to unimaginable cruelty. But as each layer of the crime was revealed, it was clear that this wasn't impulsive. The brutality these men subjected Angela to, torturing her, setting her on fire, and leaving her for dead, was not the act of men out of control but of men who had carefully planned her destruction. The police, the investigators, and even the public were all left questioning the motivations behind such a violent act. It wasn't just about a rap battle anymore, it was about something more profound that couldn't be fully understood at first. Each piece of the investigation and new detail that came to light only made the story more chilling and compelling. The suspense of not knowing why these men had gone so far, how they could quickly transform a simple loss into a nightmare, kept everyone on edge. Angela's survival against such odds was becoming less of a miracle and more of a testament to the unbelievable capacity of the human spirit. But what had truly driven these men to commit such a monstrous crime? That question lingered in the air, unanswered, as the investigation unraveled. Through all the suspense, the heart of this tragedy remained Angela. Her fight for survival became more than just a series of desperate actions, it became a powerful narrative of resilience. Despite the unimaginable pain and the horror she had experienced, Angela's story wasn't just about surviving, it was about her unwavering will to live. Each small victory, each moment of resistance, was a testament to her strength. When she found herself abandoned, burning, and bleeding, there was no reason to believe she could make it out alive. But Angela did. She saw the strength to crawl, to scream, to survive. The agony she went through was beyond comprehension, yet her ability to fight back spoke volumes about her unbreakable spirit. It was as if her survival wasn't just a physical act but a defiance against everything done to her. Angela's journey through the depths of despair and into the light of survival was extraordinary. She didn't just live, she fought every step of the way. Her story wasn't just one of recovery but of strength, determination, and an unyielding commitment to live, no matter the cost. Her courage in the face of unspeakable horrors became the beating heart of this story, a reminder that even in the most harrowing moments, the human spirit can find a way to endure. As we come to the end of Angela Morris's story, it's nearly impossible to grasp what she endured thoroughly, and the strength it took to rise above it. The brutality of the attack she survived is beyond words. Yet, through it all, Angela displayed an extraordinary resilience that not only helped her survive but also allowed her to rise above her circumstances. How she faced her attackers, lived through the pain, and continued to move forward, each act of defiance spoke volumes about her inner strength. It wasn't just about surviving, it was about reclaiming her power and showing the world that hope still exists even in the darkest moments. Her courage in the courtroom, her voice's calmness, and the determination in her eyes all resonated with those who witnessed her story, making Angela more than a survivor. She became a symbol of hope for anyone who has ever faced unimaginable hardship and a reminder that strength can be found in the most unexpected places. Her story is a testament to the indomitable nature of the human spirit. It forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about how fragile life can be and how easily someone's world can be shattered. But Angela showed us that there is a way forward, even amid unimaginable pain and suffering. She didn't let her attackers take away her dignity, her strength, or her voice. Instead, she turned her pain into something powerful, something that would not only help her heal but would inspire others. The question of how such violence could even be conceived by those who committed it lingers, but in the end, it is Angela's strength that stands out. This story, though painful, offers a glimmer of hope in a world where violence and cruelty too often take center stage. If Angela's journey touched your heart as deeply as it has touched ours, we ask you to support her by sharing her story with others. Many out there may face their struggles, and hearing Angela's story may remind them they are not alone. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe as we continue to bring you deeper looks into the real-life cases that reveal the complexity of human nature. Your support allows us to continue shedding light on the stories that matter. And don't think this is the end. Next, we'll uncover the chilling details of another case that baffles investigators today. It's a story that has captured the public's imagination, and will dig deep into the mystery. Who were the masterminds behind this daring crime? What drove them to pull off such an act, and why has it remained unsolved? The twists and turns of this case will have you questioning everything you thought you knew about crime. So, stay tuned, you won't want to miss what's coming next.